welcome to March 24th, 2022 meeting of the Hingham Historic Districts Commission. This meeting is called to order as of 6:30 p.m. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to an order issued by the Governor of Massachusetts dated March 12th, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. We have 6 items on the agenda tonight. Justin's not able to join us. So the voting members are Carol, Catherine, Dan, Marianne, and myself, except for Marianne has to recuse herself from 1035 Main Street as she is in a butter. Are there any other conflicts of interest with any of the commission members?
No.
Okay. So let's get started with 1035 Main, continuation with the Antoniks on building the garage barn. I see Liz. Do I see? It's
just me tonight.
Okay. All right.
Welcome, Lizzie.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
You as well.
I think maybe I'll just chime in here. We are still at a point where we have nothing new other than the last site plan that was submitted, which showed the location of the barn that is 11 feet, I think, from the bleaching field. And also, PJ was, we appreciate the story poles that that he put up. It's outstanding, very helpful. You just can't get a sense of the mass and of a building without looking at the story poles. So we thank you for that. And so it is, Mr. Chairman, do you want to continue here?
We want to wait for health department. Is that what you're recommending?
Well, I think, as I understand it, late today, I received an email from the Board of Health. And of course, we've been waiting for, as they have, for the as-built for the septic plan. And it has been submitted. We haven't had a chance to review it. And I haven't had a chance to talk to the Board of Health officer. So I think we'll just continue on, Mr. Chairman, without discussing that.
Okay.
I actually have a copy of it and can pull it up on the screen if you'd like to see it. I don't know if that is something you want to do here.
Is that something you can handle, Andrea, though? Do you want to review it with the Board of Health? Because we're not.
Yeah, I think since we've just only received it, Lizzie, thank you for your offer. But I think we need to talk to the Board of Health.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Very nice.
Okay. Just to let you know one thing, there is opinion from our engineer, and I talked to Susan, that it's not a system that can be achieve the H20 load rating of a driveway, but just so that everyone knows that. But yeah,
thank you.
So we'll continue to next meeting, Andrea?
Actually, I think I think we have some abutters who have something to say.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Gary Tondorf, my wife, Mary, and Marian Donaldson, who are next door neighbors to the Antoniks, would like to just make a presentation, if we could, just with some of our recommendations as neighbors and also as residents of the historic district.
So
I
I have a quick question on the presentation, excuse me.
Sure.
Is this a proposal based on existing septic or on a proposed septic?
This proposal doesn't involve interface with the septic system. So it involves placement of the building and some ideas about context and what have you, but it does not involve locating the building or the driveway on the septic system. So it's separate.
I just have a quick question. I have some information that I would like to share. I didn't know if that's something that I could do. I thought that I didn't realize I couldn't speak to that first.
Sure. Go ahead, Lizzie.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate, at the first meeting, we had agreed to move the structure back, which we did. We erected the story poles. We did talk with our engineer, which we can, wait to talk with Susan about, Terry McSweeney, who explained to us that it's an H20 system, but it's in chambers that are in stone. So to achieve H20 rating, where you pave the driveway or drive on it, it has to be installed in sand, compacted in 6-inch lifts, and these were not. So then I ran it by Susan. Anyway, so the structure needs to be 10 feet at a minimum from that leaching field. Our site surveyor actually suggested we put it at 11 to keep it as a precaution. The structure as it sits right now is roughly 70% of the proposed structure is behind our house. And as I was I did a little bit of research in the Liberty Plain district, which I didn't see too much consistency, even as far as some of the historic homes. So if I could just share my screen for a second. So just give me a minute.
Mr. Chairman, is that fine with you?
Yes.
I think, does someone have to approve me to share?
I think Miss Tracy.
You should be, let me just double check. You should be all set. Yep, you should be all set.
Okay. Let me try one more time. Sorry. So
All right.
the first structure that I want to talk about is down at 974 Main Street, where this obviously...
Lizzie, we can't see we can't see anything.
Hang on one second. Sorry, hold on. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
There we go.
Good work.
So this is 974 Main. This was before they attached the garage to the structure, which they did in 2017, showing the same profile as the house with the gambrel. This one's obviously much closer to the front of the house, just as an example, where ours is significantly further back than this one. And then there's also down the street from us.
Excuse me, do we know when that went in? Was that built before the historic districts were around? Or?
I don't know. I'm just sort of using this as a comparison with the roof line. And then hang on one second, I'm going to share another one. At 1088 Main Street, which I think you can see now. This is also another detached garage, same roof line in the front, also overlapping the house like ours would be. Because I know the concern was pushing the garage back, and we push it back to the point where right now, as we know, it is able to go. And, you know, I feel as though pushing it back further than where it would be now, it then just feels so, as just a totally separate entity from the house. You know, we already have a barn. I don't want to make this look like another barn, right? And so, you know, that's sort of where I stand on that. But again, it's about 70% of the structure is behind the house. I know that that was something that we were trying to discuss at the last meeting, and it seemed like that was sort of the biggest concern, was the location. And then obviously you have across the street, 1036 Main Street, which has a garage in the front yard. And, you know, I know that that house is slightly set back, but it does have a garage that's in the front yard of that house. I also have a couple of images of our house currently with the story pulls up, which you saw. So I don't necessarily think I need to share these. But the one specifically, you know, I know that the frontage is a concern as far as how it looks from, you know, that from the street. This is from the end of Gary's driveway next door to me, from the end of his driveway looking over. And then I have a photo, just bear with me for a minute. This is from the other end of our property on bordering 1045. And you can see this is kind of what it would look like from the street there. So just to sort of share, you know, kind of what that looks like. You know, again, I don't really feel comfortable with moving it back based on what our engineer Terry has said about the load bearing. I don't think that we would put something in where it doesn't, you know, allow for the full load capacity on our driveway. I wouldn't want to do that. And then, you know, I know that seasons change, but this is a photo of our house in the fall. And I know that, you know, it's not necessarily landscaping isn't always part of this, but you really wouldn't be able to even see the garage for 6 to 7 months out of the year. Because I know that that was a concern from Marianne across the street. So that's sort of what I have to share at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, did you want to continue?
Yes, if I could, please. And I could ask Tracy if you could upload the presentation where I have quite a few slides, but we'll go quickly with the slides to not take too much time. So what we've prepared as next door neighbors and residents of the historic district and the abutters to this property is a proposal that we'd like to put in front of the commission for your consideration, understanding that you make the final decision. But we did want to inform as best we could as to what we're seeing in the constraints and opportunities. So if I could go to the next slide, please. And so what we're looking at is tonight we're hearing a certificate of appropriateness application relative to the detached barn. And one of the constraints of the district is that it be complementary and contributing to the district. Going next slide, please. Looking at an overview of the district, we see that the predominant building and barn layouts are the building in the front yard and the barns in the back of the yard as a secondary building. Next, please. And so looking at the immediate area of the district, 1035 is at the lower right, and you see that the buildings that are the 18th century and 19th century buildings basically have the house as the center point of the front of the lot, and the yard and the barns as secondary buildings. Service buildings are in the back. Go ahead. Next, please. And so I just wanted to take some pictures show you some pictures of examples of the streetscape. This is 1019 Main Street with the cape in the front. and the barn is in the back. Next, please. And 1030 Main Street, with the house being in the front, centered, and the barn being in the back. With the, again, as the house being prominent. This is the 900 block on the west side, the Liberty Plain, showing again, I was trying to focus on capes because one of the bases of the Liberty Plain Historic District was to preserve the 20-something capes that we have in the district. And showing here is the barn, house centered on the lot, the barn being the secondary building in the back. Go ahead, the next slide, please. And so here's another example. This is the Loring House across from Resurrection. Again, showing the house, the cape in the front, and the barn, in the back. And so what we wanted to look also at is the context, the existing conditions, and we appreciate having the story poles because they are so significant in terms of understanding the size and the mass and the placement. So there's 3 slides here of existing conditions. If you could go next, Tracy, please. And here is looking across from 1030 to 1035, and we see the cape on the left. And this is a significant cape. It's the John Gardiner house. What's interesting, just as an aside, this house had a land grant dating from 1656. This whole property on this side of the street, and this house was the center of that property initially. Showing the proposed garage barn in the back, in the side of the front yard. Next, please. And here's super, and I'm doing this abstractly, but this is the scale of the proposed building relative to the house. The architecture and the shape and massing and detail of it approximates and essentially approximates what the house style is now, but it looks primarily as a house. Next slide, please. Again, showing in scale the replication of the house. I think that one appreciates that if it's a house, but our feeling is that perhaps form following function. Perhaps the building should look more like a barn and be placed accordingly.
Barry,
just in terms go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can you please explain the what you've got here in terms of the dimensions and measurements? Can you?
So what is existing here is I took from the plans, the submitted application plans, the house showing the house being 22 feet to the ridge, and the eave, the gutter line being 8 feet plus from the grade. And I showed the same, just wanted to show in register the proposed garage building, which would have, it's a foot shorter than the main house in terms of the ridge, but dimensionally it's about 95% of the scale of the main house. And I just superimposed these just to show if there weren't any trees and landscaping and an orthographic projection, this is what you'd see dimensionally. Next, please. And so looking at the 3/4 view from in front of the house on the sidewalk, looking into the yard, we see the northeast corner of the cape at 1035, and then we see my barn in the background, the white building, and then on the far right, behind some of the trees, is my house, the white federal house. And what this slide is showing is kind of existing context in terms of the yard. The houses are centered in the front, the barns are in the back. And being an old historic district, there are many trees, but it is open most, 6-7 months of the year. This is what you see. It's really the spring, fall, and summer are a lot shorter. So the next slide would show them, and again, great having the story poles. This is a 3-dimensional sketch of the building per the proposed plans, and size and scale, how it would fit into the frame of the story poles to scale. So one can get a sense of the scale of that in the side of the front yard. Next slide, please. And then here are the story poles from the corner where my driveway meets the sidewalk, looking in from my yard into 1035. And this is the east wall of the barn. On the far right center of the slide is the west wall of the barn. You can see a very faint profile of the story pole. And then I superimposed on this The next slide would be a sketch of what the building would look like and the size and the scale. And this is taken directly from the submitted plans and elevations showing.
Gary, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Today, when I was and yesterday when I was looking at the views, this view is from your driveway, correct?
It's right at the sidewalk where the driveway meets the sidewalk.
So I have a photo of where the driveway meets the sidewalk, and it doesn't look like this. It doesn't look, there's nowhere where it's this clear. You would have to be on our side of the property to take this, I think.
Well, if you look from where my evergreen tree is by that side of the driveway, there's or in the front of my house, looking from the sidewalk through between the tree and the house, you see this. So I just wanted to give an approximation of scale and massing that one would see. So the next slide. And so I want to skip over the leaching and the septic because that's currently being reviewed by the Board of Health, Susan Sarney. So let's go by that, and that's in their jurisdiction. The proposal that we are going to make doesn't really impact that, so I just wanted to explain that. So now the next area of discussion that we wanted to share was, you know, in the certificate of appropriateness, you know, the sense of place in the Liberty Plain Historic District, and this comes from our original narrative when we were studying and proposing the district to town meeting in 1989. This is what town meeting saw when they approved the district. And it's basically, the sense of place is based on the architectural identity and character of the houses and the carriage barn garages. And then also just in terms of looking at the purpose of the district and the district's commission's role is to identify and protect the physical character of the older buildings and their settings in the historic district, and to assure that the modifications or new construction in the historic districts would not be incompatible. And I think that I put this out there because I just wanted to have our whole proposal is basically what on fit and what we think is appropriate relative to the district. Our next slide, please. So in looking at it, again, a series of photos showing the context of the placement and the streetscape and how it all, the setting and how it all fits. And so just some slides here to illustrate what the majority of the buildings are in the district.
Gary, I think I'm going to stop you because it's 39 pages. We're seeing this for the very first time. We ask applicants to submit information in advance. I do think some of this is a little skewed. The applicant has said they already have a barn. And I think that there's many ways to look at this. I agree they already have a barn. They're asking for a garage. It's a wide lot. You know, I think this can be, I think this argument could be made from several different sides. And I'm not sure that the information in this packet is really what they're applying for. They have a barn that is in the back of the house, and they have a lot that's wider than many lots in this historic district. So, you know, this is the first time seeing this. I'd like to have a chance to review it in advance, you know, but I'm not sure it's really the story that the applicant is applying for.
Well, if I could, and I don't want to take too much time of the commission's time, but I did want to show the end of this because we're making a proposal based on what we think is, you know, we feel the form should follow the function, and that if we're going to build a garage that in a barn, we feel like it's a secondary building, that it probably would be in the context of the district to have it look like a barn type building. So if we could go to the end of the presentation, maybe in the last 4 or 5 slides, I could just summarize quickly what we were saying. And it's from, you know, we understand from the applicant's perspective, we just wanted to show it from the abutter's perspective, just in terms of context. And what we're proposing is that if we go to this slide, here's a cape and there's a barn type building. This is the next door neighbor at 1045 Main Street. And the way they approached it was, you have the cape in the house, and their garage barn looks like a barn. And yes, it functions programmatically as a modern day vehicle storage facility, but it looks like in the context of the district in a barn. And so we were just trying to make a proactive recommendation in the last 3 slides that programmatically build the building, but perhaps look at it in terms of what one sees typically as a barn type architectures and form. So the last 2 slides, if you could go to those, this is what we were trying to suggest, that perhaps in terms of the context of the district, maybe it would be appropriate to, and we actually think quite appropriate, to have the building look more like the barn rather than look like the house. And one of the other reasons that this was suggested is that I was listening to the last hearing, and one of the commission members, I thought, very astutely suggested that perhaps, given that this is one program and then also there's an addition program on the house, which is all very relevant, and we support all that as neighbors and abutters, just trying to be helpful in terms of offering our suggestions that perhaps the addition on the house, given that it's a gambrel cape, would be a gambrel-styled addition, much like what they're proposing for the garage. And perhaps it would look very nice to have the gambrel extension of the house in that form, and then perhaps have the garage building program enclosed in more of a barn form. And just as a proactive suggestion and solution, we just wanted to share that. And we thought it would be in the context of the district. So that's kind of where we were. That's the basis of our presentation. And thanks for your consideration.
Are there any other butters?
I'd like to say something, Tracy, if I could, as an abutter. I'm very much into the precedence and the form and substance of why we have a historic district, how they can function when this one was created in 1986 or in 1987, and why it's so important that it was created then, but that it maintains its effectiveness in this day, to this day. And I think the sentence that Gary read from the Historic Districts Bylaw and Commission background says it all, that you want the compatibility to be maintained. And I think the big thing about the bond that the Antoniks are proposing is, if it could be set back from the street, it would to minimize its presence on the street. And that's what every other house vis-a-vis its bond is doing. The house next door to me at 1040 Main Street, that house is set very far back from the street. Their barn is in line or a little bit before their house. But again, the whole property is much deeper, or the buildings on the property are much deeper than what Lizzie's property is. And so I think we need to be mindful of that the building needs to be moved back and perhaps over. I'm very much aware of greenery on the East Coast and the lack thereof for months of the year. And so I think 7 months is a stretch to say that the area across the street is green and would shield a massive building. And lastly, I think the size of the garage, if it's going to be called a garage or if it's going to be called a barn, is huge. And so you have the fact that it's close to the street and its linear footage is huge. And I think if the footage could be decreased and it moved back, I, as an abutter, and probably others, would have no problem at all with the building. But I think that just needs to be rescaled and replaced.
Yeah, and I think go ahead.
Can I make a comment? So just to reiterate, I know that we're going to wait for Susan, but I have corresponded with Susan today, and her response was that they would leave it to the approval of the engineer to whether it is a drivable system. And so that means that we can't move it back any further. I know, like I'll say this again, at the first meeting, we had all talked about moving it back. We moved it back as far as possible. It's 11 feet from the septic, or from the leaching field. We put up the story poles, which was a $500 expense to us. And, I've done everything that has been asked of us, and we don't want a second barn on our property. We already have a barn. I just think, again, it's the structure, 70% of the structure is behind our house.
I think if I could just add one thing in the suggestion that we were making, and I meant to have the plan to show you. It's in I can describe it. It's in the slideshow. What our proposal is to put the barn past the septic so that we just put a single lane driveway between the septic and the property line, which is basically the way most of the properties are laid out. So we would not be infringing upon the septic at all in the proposal. The idea was, no, let me just, if I could just finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically the building is 52 feet long and 28 feet wide. And my house is 36 feet long and 28 feet wide. And so the barn is much bigger than most of the houses. And so I think that's an important point to make. It's not a critical point. It's a point that, or being critical, it's a point to just underscore the scale and the massing. And the more, just in terms of perspective, the more things are set back, the smaller they look. And so we just thought in terms of fit, it would be much better. Because again, one of the concerns that we had in terms of the district is, are we making a departure here from the context of the district to have two buildings that look like houses in the front? And typically the character of the district, without any comment on any of the personal aspects or of the building, it's more just the district in the context and departure. Are we setting a precedent here moving forward where we're going to put buildings that look more like houses in the front yards? I mean, I look at the context of the district, and I look at, for example, Mary Ann's yard. She has a large open space at the corner of Scotland. I have a large open yard at the corner of Gardiner. I wouldn't put a building there because I want to have my house prominent and I want to have everything else, the service building, secondary. And I'm just wondering about precedent. I think it's very important to consider that in the decision that you entertain moving forward, just because I think it's important in terms of the evolution of the district.
I mean, I have to say, with all due respect, Gary, I feel like the precedent was set across the street where there's a garage in someone's front yard. This is not our front yard. It's 70% of the building is behind our house. So that would sort of be my response to that.
Well, the barn across the street at 1036 is about 150 feet back from Main Street.
I understand, but I do
this is only 30 feet back. So it's in the front yard, but it's way back.
I think relative to the location of our house, 70% of the structure is behind our house.
But I'm still saying, I'm thinking of precedent, and I'm thinking.
Excuse me. I wonder if it might be useful at this point to hear from some of the other members of the commission.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'd be glad to start. Tracy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I didn't know if you heard me.
Yes.
Just to give us some perspective, we aren't making up these rules. We aren't a bunch of Hingham people trying to decide what we think things should look like. The guidelines that we follow, I have them sitting in front of me, are written by the Federal Department of the Interior, along with the Park Service people. And if you go to a historic district in Fond du Lac or, any one of a million other places around the country, you'll find that they have followed these same rules and regulations, guidelines they call them. So our guidelines are very clear. There's a whole section on new construction, and I wondered whether the applicants had seen these, because there are several of them that this building doesn't qualify for. One of them being that new construction, outbuildings of all kinds, garages, auxiliary buildings, are to be placed behind the structure, not lined up with the back of the structure, but in the back of the structure, as your old barn is, the one that's maybe original to the house. the implication that we can put another structure which could possibly turn into a house very quickly is not the problem of this applicant, but it's something we need to consider because we see a lot of construction and remodeling of old houses, and within a year or two, they're sold. So something happens, you get a better job offer on the other side of the country, or for whatever reason, you're gone in a few years. There's a 3-car garage sitting there looking like another house. First of all, garages, barns don't often have so many dormers. It looks like a house. It doesn't look like a barn or a garage. It's sitting right sort of across from the back door of your house, and you have all that land in the back. If you want to do another building for construction, and boy, I envy you working on old cars, what fun, but you have plenty of room in the back. And also on the other side of your old barn, which is charming and I wouldn't touch it, but there's a lot more land on the other side of it. Maybe something could sit down in there. But anyway, our job tonight is not to figure out how to help the homeowner get what they're looking to do, but to block anything that's going to not make the historic district look very historic anymore. And when I went by today and looked at it a second time, it's huge. It looks as big as the house, and it's sitting sort of right across from the house. It may be, part of it may be sitting back or something. That doesn't affect me at all. I think if you're going to do something like this, it should be way in the back. You should extend your driveway back to it. I understand about the leaching field, but compared to what this building's going to cost you, the cost of a new leaching field wouldn't be that great. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying there's a way to work this out where you could win, get the building you're looking for. What's Tracy doing? And, you know, and there's lots of land back there to do it. I would also turn it and face the road, but that's just my opinion. As it's sitting now, I don't think it fits within the guidelines that we're supposed to follow.
The only thing to say to that is we just don't want to pave all the way to the back corner of our property, which would go through the...
Because why?
Well, there would just be a driveway through the center of our backyard. You're really eating up a lot of what's back there, because then you'd also have to have the garage in that area. So the area that we put it was where we felt it was in, you know, an appropriate proximity to the house to feel useful for us to not have to walk all the way to the back of our property to get to, you know, a car or the garage.
Daniel, what do you have to say?
I want to hear from, I want to hear your opinions, Catherine, and curious to see what you think.
Well, I thought about this one for a long time. I went out a couple of times. I looked at the story polls on our site visit. I was really interested in the actual front of the home, which is the south side of the house, and how perhaps somehow that could be reintegrated into the scheme of things, because right now it's lost. It's quite pretty on that side of the house. It's steeper over there. I'm not sure about the topography and the ability to get a garage over there. I guess my concern is that we are working with half of the picture here, because I think there is intentions in the future to add on maybe a kitchen and some family room. So I'm finding it difficult to make a decision with half a photograph, because down the line, I don't want to have made a move on something and approved it, and then, oh, now we're trying to fit this other peg into the hole. So I guess I prefer to see an overall scheme, even if it was a loose one. And also, maybe there is a way to consider highlighting the existing, the real true front of the home, which has a gorgeous, that side of the barn has a gorgeous, you know, walkout basement with beautiful field stone work. It's quite striking and unusual, and I would love to see that highlighted. On the same token, it is steeper over there, and the topography is steeper. And this is the flat side of the property, and this L has been created many, many years ago where the kitchen sits now, and I understand wanting a garage close to your home. It's a modern, we live in New England, and it's, you know, it's something a lot of people want, and we've often approved garages, attached garages in areas where they're not attached. So I'm struggling with this one a bit. I certainly understand Gary's perspective that most of the outbuildings are in the back, but those are barns, and I don't know if there are a lot of precedents with barns and garages, and if we could find some of those, I'd be curious to see what those look like. But homes evolve, and these are living dwellings. We're not in a museum, so I'm torn behind all those things, and I took enough time.
Yeah, it something that you touched on, Carol, is, you know, it is a barn that is designed to fit the site and kind of mimic what's happening with the gambrel style and what's happening on the main building. Kind of thought about it from a different perspective of if this was a house, you know, with some of the design features on there, the dormers and things like that, you know, how would we have responded to it in that context? So yeah, torn also, it's not a house, it is a garage. You know, the form has me a little bit, you know, being the committee member that is on the committee as a person that lives in the historic district and one that went through this a year ago, I understand the pains of being the homeowner. And you have a house and, you know, you need to live in it and you want to function. And there's needs that you have in a house today that didn't exist 200 years ago. So it's difficult to balance this. So I think, I don't know, can I ask, Tracy, can I ask Lizzie a couple questions?
We do need to keep moving. We're
yeah, real quick. I'm just curious if you was the thought process to go to this gambrel style that mimics the main house because that's the look you wanted, or you thought that that's what we wanted, or you just felt like it played well. Did you guys explore other options and then came back to this one?
We worked with Jonathan Aprea, the architect, to help us come up with this style. You know, I know that Gary had shared a couple photos of a barn style, but like I said, we already had a barn. So I didn't want to have three structures that look different from each other. I think that, you know, we thought that it looked a little bit better to have this one complement the house rather than be three totally different looking buildings on the property. I think that would actually not look great. But yeah, we just like that. And again, like if the dormers are an issue, we can redo it and, you know, minimize the dormer, take the dormers out. You know, I think we're flexible with that. But again, I think this is what Jonathan suggested that we do, you know, how it was drawn.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand the thought process behind where there's usually a lot more story than where a final plan comes from. So it's just helpful to kind of hear that. And you may apologize. You may have told us that your first meeting was just a little while ago.
Okay. There's two areas of contention. One is the location and one is the style. And I wonder if there can be a compromise made on one or the other.
And the size. I think the size is also an issue.
How wide is it, if you don't mind me asking?
50 feet.
Pardon me?
I think the size is a third issue. 50 feet is huge. It's bigger than the houses around there.
On the end, I guess I'm asking.
I thought it was 28, Lizzie, I think, when I looked at the plans, 28 by 52.
Yeah, about
28 wide, yeah.
I think it was 28. And it's basically 26 feet tall, just to give a sense of the 3D.
How high is the house?
27. It's a foot shorter than the ridge of the house.
Yeah, the barn is 21 on the plan and the house is 22.
On the height, is it 21? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I must have misread that.
So Chair, are we, because there's are we looking to make a,
We're not.
okay, we are going to continue this?
Yep.
Okay.
I wonder if there could be any movement towards making adjustments on the size, Lizzie, and on the design, and trying to compromise.
We can definitely work on changing the design, you know, to make it not look as much like a house.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I see it almost does look like it's just another house in the district between two houses and with the current design. And I don't know if that's the right answer or the wrong answer, right? And I think a little bit what Catherine might be struggling with a little bit.
I'd add too that there are a lot of houses in the historic districts that do have more than one garage, and chicken coops and places to put chickens and cows and all kinds of other stuff. Lots of buildings in the back was not an unusual look. But a second house look, I think if it could look like a barn, that would take care of a lot of the issues I would have.
I guess I agree that it could looks like a house maybe from a straight on perspective, but as you're driving up to it, it's clearly a garage. I mean, from the perspective, if you're standing in the front to the left of our house, driving from, Queen Anne's Corner.
Yeah, if you're going north, you can see the doors.
Yeah.
If you're going south or...
It's clearly a garage. And then, I think just quickly, this is, I know that I don't want to take up undue time.
Lizzie, is it possible that Paul will be done with the cars in a year or two? I mean, do you need a third?
I think we need to stay in our zone, we're voting on this application. I don't think we can be getting into
something about shrinking the size.
Need or yeah.
The issue is we have his father passed away and we inherited a couple of his cars that mean a lot to his family. Just like Gary has a lot of cars in his driveway that obviously mean a lot to him. And so
he'll be done with that at some point. I'm wondering.
No, they're not like cars to be worked on. They're cars that are his family's, old cars.
They're collector cars.
Okay. I think we need to move on. We'll get some additional information from the health department. Andrea and I will talk. I'm sure Lizzie, you and PJ will talk with Andrea. And see Andrea's on mute. I'll move to continue this. I don't know, we might need a new application just because of the timeline. But we can check that with Andrea.
We do have an extension that takes us into May.
So Tracy, though, I think it's important that we give the homeowner some guidance in which direction we would like to see changes, so that Lizzie's just not left tonight without specific areas that we would like to see changes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Justin's not here. I don't think there's a consensus is the problem, right? We have the idea of trying to move it completely different place. There's the idea of trying to change the style. There's an idea of trying to make it smaller. It's a 3-acre lot. If this were a developer, they'd subdivide it and build a house there, and then we'd be talking about a true house in that lot. So that would be even closer to the street. So I don't know where the consensus is. I kind of agree that there already is a barn. You know, so I'm not as offended by the you know, the look of it from the street. It's been pushed back to 50 feet. You know, our purview is not to say replace your septic, so you can push it back further. So I don't know what that direction would be to, because I don't think there's consensus.
I guess in my mind, Lizzie, I would suggest coming forth with an alternate plan. Maybe it's smaller, maybe it's a different style. Any way you can shrink it, any way you can, you know, adjust it to a more New England style garage / barn might benefit.
And I go along with that. Well,
I think Catherine is on the right track in terms of presenting an alternate plan. It seems to me that a lot of the comments, or some of the comments, talked about the size, and the size in relation to its nearness to the house and the street. And I wonder if perhaps if it could be changed in terms of its, you know, height at least, and appearance, that perhaps that might help. I don't know.
I think our thing is, I see where everybody's coming from completely. I think, you know, the suggestions of maybe moving it to a different location or moving the leach field, I know that would be like a $20,000 expense on top of then redoing a huge part of the yard to like another tune of almost $20,000. So we're just trying to do what we can afford, to be honest, and what works best, you know, for our family in 2022.
I think, you know, we're not asking for you to redo the leaching field. I think.
I only just because someone had suggested that, so I just wanted to reiterate.
Yeah, well, that's not. It's, you know, it's something for you to decide if that's what you want to do. You know, given your overall plan, which, you know, we're not sure what that is. So I think if you can come up with some alternatives, that would be very helpful for everybody in terms of either placement. You may want to consider another location, or you may want to consider reducing the size or the mass of the building. I think something has to move in order for this group to make a decision.
Okay. Would the commission be okay with us taking the story poles down? Right.
Oh yeah, we've seen them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Lizzie. I appreciate your patience.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for listening tonight.
Thanks for listening to the neighbors too. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we are running late. 35 School Street.
Hello, I don't know if you're waiting for me. My name is Chris Diorce. I'm here for 35 School Street.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. So hello, I'm Chris Diorce. I'm an architect at Campbell Smith Architects, and the homeowners, Maggie and Joe Keohan, have asked us to design an addition and alteration to the existing cape at 35 School Street. And I've given you guys a 17-page presentation that I can go through now and explain it briefly. And then you guys can hear from the homeowners and then come back to us with questions. So I'd like to share my screen now and go through it.
Great.
So you should be able to see the first page of the presentation now. I've just got to get rid of this. So 35 School Street is in this, near the intersection of Spring. You can see the subject property here. Here's a picture of the existing house. It was built in 1941 and never renovated, never altered. It is in the same configuration and that it was when it was built. Our proposal is 2 additions, one on the side facing School Street and one in the back. In addition to that, we have a proposed barn building, a 2-car garage barn building in the far back right corner of the property. So this photograph is taken from basically the foot of the existing driveway, which is about here looking this way. There is an existing 1-car garage and side entrance, mudroom entrance and center entrance. We're proposing an 18 by 18 foot wing addition on the left-hand side and a 34 by 24 2-story addition on the back with a 1-story sunroom connected to that, and then a barn that's 26 by 30. This is a hardscaping plan. North is to the bottom of the page here. School Street is on the left. The driveway will be an asphalt driveway near the property line on the north side, going back to the 2-car garage with a car turnout here. This is the rear addition. This is the addition on the left. And we're proposing stepping stones, a single wall-mounted light next to the front door, and fencing. The fence will run across the yard here and then between the garage, the new garage, and the new addition. And this is our proposed fence style. First floor plan. In the upper left, you can see conceptually what we're doing. Here's the existing block of the Cape with the 1-car garage wing on the right, our addition on the back and to the left. The addition on the left is a bedroom, guest bedroom. The addition on the back is a kitchen family room with a sunroom. This area on the right, which is now the 1-car garage, will be a small home office bathroom, and that side door gets moved around to the back of the building. Second floor, this wing on the left is a very low headroom that's just for attic storage. And
We've lost your sound. We lost your sound.
I hear him.
Yeah.
I can hear him.
I think you lost the sound.
I think I did. Never mind.
I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Okay. Second floor. The second floor of the existing house was never finished. It was a 2-bedroom and is a 2-bedroom today and will be a 2-bedroom after this project is finished. But we are proposing finishing the existing second floor with 2 small doghouse dormers on the front in the roof of the existing Cape facing the street and a shed dormer in the back. And then this is a master bedroom or primary bedroom suite in the second floor addition, and the sunroom is a single floor addition. The basement on the left is a full basement, full excavation, as well as under the rear addition. There are 2 existing basement windows on the left side of the existing Cape on the south end of the house, and we are proposing 2 similarly styled basement windows in the addition. This is the front elevation from School Street. You can see we have the 2 dormers in the roof, the wing on the left, which is stylistically very similar to the wing that exists on the right, but we're getting rid of the street-facing garage door and mudroom door, and proposing 2 windows on either side of the front door. Today there is a single window, 8/8 on each side of the front door. These windows are showing at 6/6. This elevation is the driveway side, or the north elevation. You can see the existing or the new ridge will be at or below. The existing ridge will not get any higher, so as a result we have a very, very low pitch shed roof there. Top elevation is the rear, and this is the south elevation. Here is the gable of the wing we are proposing on the left, this bedroom addition with the 2 basement windows. And then here is the barn behind the house. You can see the relationship between the house and the barn. There's some renderings. Top rendering is from the south end looking north. Here is the bedroom addition. We've tried to be sensitive about the massing, same roof slope, same detailing. And then this view from the driveway end looking back. Here's the existing wing that has a garage door in it now, and then you can see the new wing on the left, and you can see the barn at the end of the driveway. Roof plan. All through roof penetrations are behind the ridges. This would have to be a rubber roof membrane of some kind. It's a very, very low pitched shed roof, but that's all behind the existing cape. Materials, we're proposing white cedar shingles, clapboards painted, just like what's there today. 5/4 casing, flat rakes, 5/4 corner boards. And the existing structure is very much undersized for what's acceptable today. And we spent some time looking at how we would reproduce or construct structure that would be okay in terms of code, but also look the same as the old house. So this is our detail. I can get into that if you're interested. And this is a comparison of what we're proposing for the windows. The elevation here on the bottom is the current window configuration of the main box of the cape. There's 2 windows on either side of the front door. They're 8/8, and we're proposing pairing these windows on either side with shutters. There's also shutters in the garage now that go to the front door, and the homeowner's proposing putting those back up.
Nice.
This is the garage floor plan, 2-car garage, stair up to the 2nd floor, so finished space above with the bathroom. Here's a barn. We very much intended to have barn language for this building, and it is, as I said, the back far right corner of the lot. For windows, this is very light on this screen, so I'm just going to flip over to a different program. So we're proposing 2 kinds of windows. We're not sure yet. This is very early on in the process which windows we're going for, but I can share with you some of our research. I know that the commission would like to see true divided light single glazed. We definitely can do single glazed. The true divided part is the tricky end. There are 2 windows here. Norwood on the left is a custom window manufacturer out of Canada, and Marvin Windows here on the right. You're probably familiar with those. But I will just show you, for example, a true divided light from Norwood means the mutton bar is nearly an inch. It's 15/16 wide. So that, I think, defeats the purpose of emulating a historic window. So we would propose in this case a single glazed product, but with a simulated divided light and the 5/8" mutton bars that look like the old windows. And you can see the reason here is that the windows that would be going in the new section behind the original house would be modern insulated glass or double glazed windows. And this particular manufacturer can make both of those types of windows virtually identical. So here you can see 2 photographs. The photograph on the top is an interior view of this 5/8" mutton on a simulated divided light. And this photograph down here is the insulated glass or the double glazed with the same mutton profile. So that's really, I think, innovative and something that we're very interested in doing. This manufacturer can also place a screen or storm panel within the frame of the window. So here's the single glazed window sash, and then a screen or storm panel which is set into the frame. It's not a triple track or something that's bolted onto the casing. It's set into the frame. That's one proposal. The second one is the Marvin. This is a true divided light, single glazed product.
Chris, were you sharing details of each of these windows that were darker? Because I'm still stuck on the page that has the Norwood and the Marvin together on the page.
So I'm hoping you can see our title block Campbell Smith Architects on the page. I've zoomed in on the lower right corner. You can't see that. Okay, I'm going to stop share and then reshare. Okay, I've got a warning. It says your screen sharing is paused. So let me try this again. How's that? Can you see a detail of a window?
Yep. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So this, we're looking at the Marvin, they call it the Nantucket Window. By the way, both of these windows are approved in the Nantucket Historic District. You can see here a true divided light, 5/8 inch mutton bar. Very thick sash, but narrow meeting rail. And as a comparison, here is the Marvin insulated glass unit with a 5/8 inch applied mutton bar, which has the same putty glaze, although clearly a very different depth. So these are the two candidates for windows facing the street. This photograph is the Marvin window from the exterior, showing the putty glaze finish. Photographs of the existing house. Here you can see the single windows in the middle of the
You're not
change.
Yeah, you're not changing your screen.
For some reason, I get a warning that says sharing has been paused, and I will reshare. And hopefully you can see the photographs.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
This is the existing house. The chimney will stay. This is the garage that will be changed out to 2 windows. And here you can see the 2 basement windows that will be reproduced more or less on the wing. Here's an existing window. So the 2 window products that I showed you are intended to emulate this, the narrow mutton bars, flat casing, narrow meeting rail. And then also that detail that I showed earlier, we're trying to reproduce exactly what's there. We're very close to it. It can't be exact, but it's very close. And then here's the neighborhood. So our subject property is here in the center. There's a house to the right and to the left. This house to the right has a wing on the left, 2 windows and a single window either side of a very slightly off-center door, a shed dormer. House on the left is a small cape with a gable facing the street and also a little porch wing. And then the neighborhood across the street is this beautiful Federal, 5-bay Federal, paired windows, shutters. And then at 40 Spring Street, again, paired windows with shutters and a shed dormer on the 2nd floor and a wing off to the left with 3 windows on that. And then 36 Spring, shutters on either side of the door and paired windows. And then below is our proposal, roof dormers, paired windows either side of the door, and then subordinate wings on each side.
Thank you for, I even have 3D.
Yeah, so that's the existing.
Very complete application and got through 17 sheets in 10 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's clearly evident that you guys have put a lot of thought into the historic sensitivities of this, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I just wanted to ask Maggie and Joe if they had anything to add. They're Hingham residents and have been working very hard on this with us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello, and Joe's here as well. Thank you. First of all, we want to thank Chris. I think he has done a really nice job. He's been very thoughtful about this. We live at 413 Main Street. We've actually been in Hingham for just over 20 years, but we live in a historical house built in 1805 and appreciate everything that is put into the historical district and the decisions you make. We love the historical homes, so we'd like to preserve this. We also, obviously, like everyone who comes in front of you, we want to make it livable and functional. We are empty nesting, and we're trying to move into a space that makes more sense for us, given that we both are working from home and sometimes need a little bit of a different configuration, and love this neighborhood, and would love to be a part of it. So happy to answer any questions, and yeah, look forward to the conversation.
Are there any abutters?
I'm here. I live to, if you were looking straight at the house, I'm Sumeral, and I live to the left. And I have a very small house. It's 19 by 32 feet. And I've kept the outside as it was when I moved in. And I've done stuff inside the house. And Megan and Joe have been so nice about being considerate of the abutters and showing us their plans and keeping in, with the flavor of the neighborhood. And I think that, and I really, that's been wonderful. And, at first when I said 18 feet, in addition, that's 18 feet over to my house. I mean, my house is so small. It's almost like, the cabana on somebody's pool in this town at this point. So, I mean, I was a little concerned about it, but, I actually, Megan, I took my not my measuring tape, what do you call those things? Construction thing. And I went out and, I've mowed the lawn up to exactly where the addition would come out, and it's really in line with the tree. So I was really concerned that it would look really too close, but it's not close at all. So I was really happy about that. So I didn't just leave it to John to step 3 feet. I took a measuring tape and measured it. No, that was my only concern. And I think you guys have done a great job of keeping in the flavor of the neighborhood.
I think that carries a lot of weight. I saw the existing photos there on sheet 16 or so, and I had to double take and make sure that your house, no offense, wasn't a secondary structure to another house. Because that was my first concern, was that this was pretty big compared to what's there today, especially with the barn. But
the barn, I don't mean to interrupt, but building back it's like about the historic district. To me, it's all about seeing from the front. And I think that they have kept, I think it's about the visual and not, if there was let me roll back the tape. The property lines between our property, my house is basically the property line. So, their property is huge. I mean, back and toward my house. So, I mean, theoretically, people have the right to do what they want within the variances from property lines. And I completely respect that. And there's a lot of room to move back. And I always thought that was a perfect place to expand the house. And actually, I was really pleasantly surprised when I measured today, how was it going to look like it was like falling on top of my cabana.
And I did notice that the neighbor has a barn in the back as well, or a garage in the back as well. So
behind my house, you mean?
No, on the right side, facing the house.
Oh yes, it's a garage.
There's no other abutters. Open it to commission. I would assume we'd probably going to want a site visit, but will Carol or Catherine or anyone have any questions?
I know the area very well, and then I know Susan and her tiny little house, which is precious inside. It's just fabulous. I think it looks okay. I really stopped and walked around today, and actually, the bigger house on the other side that you showed, Mark Culling's home, and of course David McCullough's house is right there. It's a beautiful area with a park right in the middle that the neighborhood kids use. And I think what you want to do to this looks perfectly appropriate for the house and for the neighborhood. And I like the design, and I like getting that barn garage door off the front of the house and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be lovely. I have no problems with it.
I have a few concerns, actually. This house is actually the smallest house on the street, and it's smaller than Susan's, if you don't include the garage. So I just did a little tally going down on the right side. This is all off of Zillow, so I could be off a little bit. But the first house on the street is 1,100. The second house is 1,800. The third house is 3,101. The fourth house is 2,505. The littlest house is 824. So, and this house is 824 square feet without the garage. So all of a sudden we're adding, if you finish the garage, if you're including the new finished garage space, you're adding 2,320 square feet. And now it's suddenly 3,328 square feet, which makes it the biggest. So I guess I have concerns about just the mass and the scale of the increase. And I also took some measurements from the other side of the street, and they were all under or very close to 3,000 square feet. So I guess I've got some concerns about that. And when you're talking about mass, I think it's really difficult to talk about mass without considering the volume of what's inside. And I know we're not supposed to consider what's inside, but I think a lot of the spaces inside feel a little oversized for this tiny little house. And I'd love to see it reduced by a bit. It's going to fill up that lot considerably with the addition and the barn. It's going to be a large, it's gorgeous, and everything Chris presents is gorgeous. It's a wonderful application. It's absolutely, there's no doubt about it. It's an absolutely stunning property, but I'm wondering, and I have concerns about the size of it compared to the little house next door and the surrounding neighborhood homes.
I just want to say my house is 1,100 square feet.
Yeah, I have you as number 6 at 1,100. I didn't get you in there.
Oh, okay. I'm so, but I
so
think,
this house without the garage is 824 according to Zillow.
Really? I think, well, I would think it was double the size. I thought it was 2,200 square feet.
I mean, that's
No?
what I did a little research. If you include the garage, it's 1,000, but even that's under your house.
But it's much bigger than my house.
I mean, I'm just going based off of.
No, I'm just.
That is right.
No, I'm just being honest with you. It's twice the size of my house. It's definitely 2,200 square feet.
But it is, if you include the garage, it's just over 1,000 square feet. And
Really?
the footprint. Yeah, I know. It's strange, but it's that garage too. Yeah. So
is it because they don't include the upstairs? Because
yes, she never finished the upstairs. Well, yeah, exactly. So
is that right? Okay.
But I don't know how you were running those numbers, because I have slightly different numbers. Are you just thinking about the footprint, or are you thinking about the entire?
Oh, I was thinking about, I wasn't considering the upstairs as finished square footage because that's not included in the Zillow. I was just going off of the Zillow number.
Okay, yeah.
And just trying to get a comparison and a feel for what's in the district currently and what you're adding with the barn and the home. And it's a lot. And of course, there's no doubt about it. It's gorgeous. I'd love to live there. But I it's my job to consider the setting, and we're talking about the rhythm and the cadence of the district and how this might change it. And I guess I'd say, not every lot is appropriate for to have every modern amenity. I know we want to get as much as we can, but so anyway, that's my concern. And then I had a couple of questions about the size of the barn isn't really on here. I don't think on the plan. I don't have on just the barn sketch. Maybe it's on the main
on the site plan.
survey. It's on the main survey, but it's not on the plan itself, the site plan. And then the rubber roof, is that going to be visible from the street, or is that going to be at such a slight pitch that we won't see it? Yeah. So I guess those are my, and what is the demolition plan for this? Are you demolishing? There was some chat about this construction not being, it was understructured. And so what is being demolished exactly? And I'd love to see a sample of the windows. Those are my questions.
The existing exterior walls all remain, so the footprint is not shrinking. The demolition would only be interior walls of the existing structure. And it's my suspicion that the existing roof, which is currently framed with 2x6s, will not stand up to the construction, and would likely, I'm going to stop share, likely have to be reinforced with 2x10s in the roof. So that detail we've worked on to try to replicate the detail that's there today.
So are you going to be, your plan is potentially to have to take off the entire roof on the home?
Potentially, yeah, just based on the existing structure as 2x6 rafters.
But you duplicate it at the same pitch?
Yes.
As it's currently?
Yep.
And maybe I can, or
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I just looked at the assessor's database, and let's see, the gross living area of the house is 824 square feet. The attic, first floor, the basement and garage, the gross area is 2,488. So.
And so now you've included the attic and the garage.
That's what the assessor's database has.
Yeah. That's so that first floor, first floor 824 without the garage. The attic was unfinished, which
right.
Of course, it's tough for us because we are now stuck with a 2-bedroom home. That's one of the things that we're trying to work around. But obviously, we would like to finish that space. So, in our minds, that's already finishable space. So, I think obviously we take the feedback. So, in terms of the sizing, we'd like to be thoughtful about that. Joe and I've talked about the barn itself probably can be downsized. We talked with Chris about that at our last meeting, and so we were looking at ways to make that not so prominent, if that's helpful. I think in terms of the amenities in the house, we only have 2 bedrooms, and so we've sort of worked around that and made two bedroom suites. We do have a situation where we both work from home fairly regularly and just need a place to close our door. So you'll notice that there are 2 small offices with no closets, less than 70 square feet, and that's just a reflection of the modern life that we live in now. I think that we've come to realize that. And there's things in there that may look a little bit amenity-ish, and I'm slightly personally sensitive to, but I have, for health reasons, have put in a pool in the bottom because I've had some arthritis and some physical issues. And so it looks a little strange that way. But I guess one thing I'd say is we aren't building this house so that we can sell it. I know I heard that in some of the last discussions. We're building it so that we can live in it for a long time. And so we're trying to build it in a way that will work for that. And so it may not be the house that everyone else loves down the road, but we're planning on living in it. So that's not what's most important to us at this point. And Chris, maybe I'll let you talk about the roof and anything else.
Yeah, so the rear addition is intended to stay below the existing ridge, and ceiling, the current first floor ceiling is 7.2, which is very, very low. And then the existing house is only 24 feet deep, so a 10-pitch roof, you don't have that much height to work with. So that our addition, the shed roofs are very, very flat, so that requires a membrane roof. But we're very sensitive to that, and the 3D model that I was showing earlier is very accurate in terms of grading, and the sight lines from the street, from the sidewalk, that cornice would be above your sight line, so that black roof would not be visible unless you were very far away or in an elevated position.
Daniel, any comments, questions?
Yeah, Chris, you lost me a little bit on the window conversation. And apologies for not keeping up, but were you saying that on the front elevation, the intent was to do single pane there because you felt that that's what the commission prefers and that's what guidelines kind of recommend, and then you would do an IGU style window on the rest of them? I just didn't quite follow that.
Correct. So it's my impression that the Historic District Commission prefers single glazed true divided lights on publicly visible facades of the building. So our proposal would be the street facing walls, that 2 windows on the left, 2 windows on the right, and then the 4 windows in the center.
Yep.
And then potentially the windows on the gable ends and the forward part of this house would be historic reproduction or historically sympathetic windows that would be single glazed wood windows. Okay. The windows in the rest of the building, in the rear elevation and on the rear addition, would be insulated glass modern windows. Okay. And so there would be 2 kinds of windows in the project, and it would be important that those windows look similar as possible. And we found that the manufacturer.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you were going for. I was just trying to wrap my head around it because I see you have windows called out as A through L's, and a window schedule would be helpful. I just wanted to make sure if you were thinking just the front, but it sounds like looks like it's A and B windows and the C's up top. So I think a window schedule would, just to clarify that, would be helpful.
Page 10 has the window schedule.
And the date on the house is 41. Is that
1941?
1941.
Unless I missed it, I apologize if it was included.
Yeah, the window schedule is on page 10, top left corner. Windows A through D are the single glazed units to be decided.
Gotcha. Okay. And then just commentary. So it's interesting. It's not often, right, that especially in this town, that you get a building that's kind of been frozen in time, right? This Cape has really been, it obviously had the original intent probably to have the second floor refinished. And, over the last 80 years, like most of the other houses in the district, it would have undergone probably some growth, right? So I understand Catherine's comments about, it's all of a sudden going to go from this size to large, but most of the houses around here have gone through some sort of growth over time. And I think it might be, I have, the way it's been designed, I have less hesitation and pause, the fact that it stays behind the main body, and you can really look at this and know what the original building was, and what this building, what this Cape looked like. Even the subtlety of not having the garage on that Cape and it being converted seems like something that probably would have been done over time. So I have less concern with that. I do think the garage is a little oversized, given how far back it is. It's less of a concern, but if it was something you've already been thinking about, it certainly can't hurt, because when you look at the elevations, even though it's ghosted out, it is, it's still sticking out a little larger than what I think. If this house had a barn or accessory barn originally, I don't think it would have necessarily been quite as tall, quite as big. So something I think, from my perspective, it's worth looking at a little closer. And then the only other thing is, just as it's not a main elevation that you see from the road, but I don't know if you've looked at other options. The right elevation, you kind of have this stairwell roof frame. It just looks a little odd. I don't know if you guys have gone through any other iterations of that, or if this is where you landed at, but it just feels kind of like it didn't have a stairwell and then it just got glued on a little bit. So those are all my comments for consideration.
Marianne, any comments, questions?
I probably would go along with what Carol said in the very beginning. I thought it was a very conservative, in a way, growth of a 1941 cape that seems to fit very nicely on the lot, very nicely in the neighborhood. You know, I don't have an objection to a barn that's way behind if it needs to be big, but I can certainly see why everyone else would think that the barn should be a little bit reduced in size. But I think it's very tastefully done. And I don't say that about too many things. So I think it looks very tasteful, and I appreciate, you know, the people who are looking like the next segment of their life and want a house that's going to make it more comfortable for them. And I think that that's very appealing to me, that the architect designed it to meet their needs that way.
This is none of my business, but that house is twice as big as mine, really. And the upstairs was never finished. And I know the original owner. And I don't understand, I mean, why it cannot be, I mean, that house, the property is big enough and the house is big enough to have more bedrooms. And this is no business of mine, but I just can't understand why it couldn't have more bedrooms.
It probably is the septic system and what.
But couldn't you, that property is huge. You could just have a bigger septic system.
No, Hingham has a rule, a law, that the property is not big enough to have more than 2 bedrooms.
But it seems
if this was if that lot was unbuilt, if that was a blank lot today, the limit would be 2 bedrooms.
Okay, I was surprised.
I am surprised too.
It's because my house is much smaller, has 2 bedrooms, and it has a much smaller piece of property, and I have 2 bedrooms, so I was surprised.
Hingham limits the number of bedrooms based on the lot size. And this lot
mine must have been,
is limited to 2 bedrooms.
All I have to say is I must have been grandfathered in.
Virtually all houses in Hingham are.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, there is a 3rd bedroom in the barn, and there is a landing spot that could be also a bedroom. So I guess I would urge just to reduce as much as possible still. It just, mass-wise feels big.
I'm a little confused about this. We've all been working on this wonderful property on Blaisdell, which is really tiny lot, and they just got approved for a 3-bedroom to be built there.
Because it was a 3-bedroom originally.
It was grandfather. Okay.
Well, if they combined all the buildings that were there, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
No, it's just that the lot's much bigger than mine. And the house is bigger. I was just curious more than anything.
It does seem like it'd be worth challenging. I don't know.
Let's
We're on the Board of Health meeting on April 14th.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go
and I think that's our next meeting as well.
Yeah. 17th.
No, 14th
Of
April.
Yeah.
The 17th is Easter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I
Tracy,
think
what are
we're
your
going,
thoughts?
I was going to recommend a site visit. I'm assuming others would want to see that. And I don't know if we need story poles, but maybe the corner staked out rather than full story poles.
Yeah.
Everyone agree with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
If I'm the only one who objects to the size, I just wanted, my goal is to raise the issues that are of concern to me and to fluff it out there and see what sticks. And if no one else in the commission is concerned with the size or the scale or the volume or the mass or the rhythm of any of it, then, I don't want to be the one who I'm putting it out there, not as an objection, but to be noted. That's, I guess, what I would say.
Good.
So we'll schedule a site visit.
I'll do that.
Probably, I don't know when a good weekend is, because the weekend before the 14th would be Palm Sunday. I don't know if that's an issue for some.
The 14th is my birthday, but that's okay.
The 14th of April?
Oh, no, March. I'm sorry. I'm still on the wrong calendar. Sorry. Never mind.
Okay, never mind.
I'm not here tonight.
So let me just look. We've got, hold on.
But while Andrew's looking at that, in summarizing, I didn't hear a lot of concern other than Catherine on the scale. Dan made a couple comments, with the stair structure. I didn't hear anything on changing the flanking windows on the front of the house, front door from 2 windows, 1 on each side, to 4 windows, 2 on each side. I didn't hear any comments on that. I think would like to see some additional information on that on the window with the, I thought you said it had a kind of an integrated storm.
Yeah, it fits into the inside the frame of the window rather than on top of the casing.
Okay.
Can we see that?
Yeah, if we have a site visit scheduled enough in advance, I could probably get samples on site.
Sure, that'd be great.
That'd be good.
So let me see. We have actually April the 2nd and April 9th are the 2 Saturdays prior to.
I'm not in town the 2nd. So.
I'm not in town on the 9th, but I have been to the site. I did an extensive drive-by, so I think I could miss it and be.
Well, if none of the rest of us want to go and you're not going to be there, it makes sense.
I'm not in town on the 9th. I don't have to be there, but I would love to.
Yeah.
I can't do the 9th.
All right. Andrew, why don't you and I talk afterwards?
Okay, fine. Okay. All right, we'll figure something out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're continued to the 14th.
Yep.
Actually, the 14th may be an issue because we're scheduled to be presenting to the Board of Health.
Oh, that's right. All right. We should talk about that.
We can talk about it. So the Board of Health meeting is really just for our sake, so that we know that our room count is going to be accepted after we get through historic and building department, that it doesn't come in at the end saying they disagree with our room count. So we were just trying to get ahead of the curve. I think that historic probably takes precedence because it's important that we get approval on the design so that we can have our rooms counted officially. I was trying to do these 2 things in parallel. But yeah, we can talk later.
Chris, I think, that's really a good. Do you know what time you're on?
No, the meetings start at 7 and they haven't created the agenda yet.
Okay, all right. I'll talk to Susan Sarney, the Board of Health, and maybe we can coordinate something. Because
2 on one night, boy, that's going to be a big one. Okay.
I know. That's not optimum. All right.
But we can do it for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you. Next, 111 Levitt Street. Is this you, Sally?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Sorry for running so late.
No, that's fine.
We started off with 3 big ones.
You did. Yeah. Had an agenda tonight. So, well, I don't know if Matt and Kristen Godfrey are on, but I'm here representing for 111 Levitt Street. This is a 1781 Cape, and they have owned it since 2013. They have 3 children and a dog, and as Matt said, I mean, they love their neighborhood, they love the house, but they really are trying to make this historic house livable for them. So, so we have the real issue here is that they have 3 bedrooms, 2 of which don't even have closets. The ceilings are 6'2" in part of the house, 6'6" in other parts of the house. So I think maybe I'll start with the site plan. I don't have shared screen. I think Andrea maybe does.
Yeah, Miss Tracy, would you be able to put up 111 Levitt Street?
I apologize for not having, thank you. So you can see the house in the right side there. It's a little cape with a left wing. They have quite a bit of property, but their house is kind of squeezed in there with the garage. And so the thought was to really, you know, from the streetscape, the thought was to keep the house really exactly looking like it does pretty much today. So if you go to, I think AB/D 1.1, it'll give you an idea, and the photographs are good too. So the existing cape is really staying the way it is with the 2 dormers. The left wing in the top right-hand photograph has 1 window right now, and then there's kind of behind that large bush that you see is like a kitchen window. We are proposing 3 windows on that wall, 3 separate windows with shutters. And so from the front, from Levitt Street, the house will look pretty much the same as it does now. You know, maybe with some residing, some trim repair and things like that. But, you know, we were really trying to keep the house looking the way it is and putting the additions all out the back. So there is 1 addition to the rear of the house, and it is not in the best shape. I'm sure you'll probably want to do a site visit and look at it. It is not original to the house. It is really sloping, and our intention is, it is right now 16 feet, and we're proposing to make that addition 25 feet. So, and again, the ceiling in there is about, I think it's 6'9". So, you know, even to get regular refrigerators in is a little difficult. So if you look at sheet A1.2, or maybe
there we go. No, wait a minute.
Well, that explains the 3 windows in the front and the cape that looks like it does now. And if we go to the next picture, the next rendering, you'll see that we are adding 2 wings to the rear of the house. This wing that you see, we have set back. The right-hand side of the cape is really kind of a salt box shape. So we actually set the 2-story addition back from that. So you sort of still see that sort of salt box shape. We are adding a little porch to the side because we're creating a little mudroom there. That's really the only change, that the windows will stay, the dormers stay, just like you see. We're just, like I say, adding that one little porch so that you're a little undercover. And then as you go around the next slide, the next photo, I guess, or the next sketch, to that wing that you see there is the one that we are planning to take down. If you go up, if you can go back up. There you go. That 2-story addition that you see, the only way to get to the basement is a bulkhead that's outside. And again, that addition has very low ceilings. So we want to add on to it, we would have to raise the walls to get anything above like 6'9", actually 6'6" in that wing. So the idea was to take that down and put 2 new additions on the rear of the house. One, a 2-story, as you see on the right-hand side, and one more of a gable on the left-hand side, and then a stairway, which you won't see in the center. The house right now is 2,121 square feet, and we're adding about 1,176 square feet to the house to create 4 bedrooms, which they have a 4-bedroom septic. And again, you know, being able to make bedrooms that have closets and ceiling heights that actually meet some sort of code, because right now everything is so low in the house that they really can't. In fact, they have to get up the stairs and get back to their bedroom. The hallway is only 19 inches wide. So now by putting a new stairway in, and if you look at sheet A1.2, this will probably give you a, so if you keep going, well, there's the addition that we plan to remove. I wish I could be pointing. I apologize for not having a shared screen. I'm at home, so.
That's the demo, right?
Yeah, so right here, and thank you. You see the main box of the cape that stays, and the wing to the left stays. And so everything is really behind the existing cape. So you really are not, it's not going to be very visible. By taking that 16-foot addition off and building a new 25-foot deep addition pretty much in the same place, being able to put a new stair in and be able to put another room to the right, that's all will be new basement. You know, so they can actually get to their mechanicals and things like that. Because right now, like I say, the only way you can get to it is from a bulkhead. And then if you go to the next picture, you'll see that those 2 wings will have bedrooms. The other 2 bedrooms will be in the front of the house, and the 2 dormers will remain. And then there's a new stairway to actually get furniture up the stairs. Mm-hmm. The second floor of this portion will have to be raised just so we can get a 7-foot 3-inch ceiling in the kitchen, which is basically code these days. Just like your past presenter, you know, all the windows on the front would be single pane, true divided light with storm windows. And then in the rear, we would have simulated divided light, insulated windows, you know, historic sized muntins. Actually, the commission's been approving those for quite a few years. So, and I think, I don't know, the section at A2.1, I'm not sure if you can see it on the bottom, but again, we have to raise the walls of the addition just to get a decent ceiling height. So you will actually step up into the 2 bedrooms that are being added. If you go back, if you could go back to the sketch, let's see, SK 1.1. There, thank you.
There it is.
Yep. You can see there that because we have to make the floors a little taller so that, you know, they're just 6'2" is a little short for, you know, more modern day things, you know, just to get kitchen cabinets and things in. So if you look to the left side of the cape, you'll see there's like a little gable with a vent sticking up. And what we're proposing is to make that more of a hipped roof. The roof will just hip back on itself, which you see all over town when somebody makes an addition that's a little bit taller. We're talking about, we're adding 7 inches just to get a little higher ceiling. So we will actually have 2 of those little hips but they will be of roof shingles. So, you know, they're really very, they're kind of nondescript. You don't really see them as much. And I think it's a nice way to handle the roof rather than that gable that's sticking up that's white with a vent. So I think that, you know, again, it was really our intent to keep the house pretty much exactly as it is, and then put all the addition to the rear, and proposing that, you know, again, they have a home that they can really use a little bit better as their kids grow. And then the last thing is the garage. And you can see a picture of that on SK 1.2. Right now, when you look at the site plan, the house is very closed in. They don't even see their backyard from pretty much anywhere. They see their garage. So the idea, and our sketch doesn't show this, but it does show it on the site plan, is that they're thinking of picking the garage up and moving it to the right and turning it with the garage doors facing the street, just so they can actually experience their backyard, so they can see part of their backyard. They have a very large lot, but right now it's really kind of, they're really confined by the garage and the house. And by moving the garage, which you can see on the site plan, they'll get views of their backyard from those rooms. So that is their proposal. It would all be, you know, materials that match the existing. And again, we already talked about the windows, so.
All right, thank you. Are there any butters?
Oh.
No. Anyone from the commission want to start?
Okay, I'll start. As always, Sally, you do such beautiful work, and I can see how they'll get so much more use out of this house. I get a little concerned about side entrances being more predominant and eye-catching than the front door. I think one of the lovely things about an old Cape is how simple the front door is and how the front facade is. And when I see a roof with pillars and so forth, is there any way that can be toned down? I mean, I understand wanting some roof over an entrance that's going to be used a lot, but is there some way of doing it without making it so much grander than the front door?
I'm sure we can look at that, yeah, to reduce the size of it.
I can't tell from the sketch, are they like Tuscan columns or just squares of?
Oh, they're just square. They're just little square columns, you know, trimmed, very simple. You know, so again, not to call attention to it, you know, just making it simple.
I think it's the roof more than anything that's making it stand out, but whatever you think you can do.
Yeah, okay.
So, Sally, is there a step down from the old to the new, or is it all on one level?
The first floor is flush, and then the second floor will step up to the new portion. Just one step, just so we can get
to the height. Is it possible to step down into the new addition in order to eliminate the little box here that we have?
We're going at grade right now. You would have to step up and out of the house to do that. We're literally, like, they're right on grade, so there's no way we can step down.
Even, what if you created like a sunken terrace or something like that? Would that shrink it and lower, and so we don't have those two fox ears in the front?
Well, there's already one there now.
Yeah.
So there's really no way, I mean, there's no way to step down because we're, like I say, we're at grade, and that's their whole yard is kind of level. So that would be quite a, because there's a terrace on the left-hand side that's already there. So that would all have to be dug out to make that lower.
Would the barn be changed at all or just turned? It still.
No. Yeah, just turned. It's a kind of simple little barn garage, but it would just get flipped around just so it can get out of that. Again, so they can experience the yard. The tree would stay that you see in that picture.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh, I see the terraces to the left of the or to the right of from the rear. It's to the right of the addition.
Yeah, there's actually a terrace between them and their neighbor's house right now.
And then there's gonna be another terrace.
And then there'll be another little terrace. I mean, again, we haven't worked out all the landscaping, but it's not really visible from the street. But I think, you know, they'll have probably do some landscaping, but they are really right at grade. I think you can see it on P1.2. If you look at that picture on the top right, you can see the door that's going into the link, the one-story addition. You can see there's almost no step going into the house. So we'd have to do a lot of excavating. So yeah, on the top right, that there's a door going with the window, and you can see how tight it is to the grade. They're kind of sunk in now. You worry about the sills, you know. It's really low. You can see it in the front too. It's very, very tight to the grade.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering if they're going through all this to, you know, to create a sunken sort of terrace situation where it would just do so much to get the whole grade of the whole ridge of the back two additions down.
Well, we would only drop them 7 inches. That's about what it would drop. So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'd love to do a site visit on this one. I don't know the land and I'm a little turned around a little bit, but.
Yeah. Kristen, Matt, do you have anything to add or
Hi, everybody. No, Sally, I think you captured it really well. Happy to have everyone over. There's a lot of charming peculiarities about the house. Would love to show you the second floor, which is, you know, Sally, I think you captured the theme really well. We're just looking to make the space more functional. What was charming 10 years ago is maybe a little less so today. She was not kidding. There's a doorway that's 22 inches wide. So you're turning sideways when you're walking down our hallway. You can't carry a laundry basket through our hallway.
Our son was 2 when we moved here. He's 11 now. So the roof line in his bedroom is getting a little tight there.
Yeah. So, you know, there's things like that. And we're happy to have you over. Yeah. I think, Sally, you've got an interesting point of view because you're actually our abutter who might have the best view of the Fox ears. We don't really have an audience in front of us. It's just land. It's you, yeah. So, you know, it's not like there's a real lookout to our house. It's one way in, one way out. So,
and we're just trying to make the house functional so we can continue to live here and grow with our family. So I think we're trying to keep it within those limits.
We don't want them to leave the neighborhood either. So that we're.
Sally, yes, I almost missed it in the application because I didn't see it in the plans, but can we get a plan that shows where the barn's moving?
Yes, it's on the site plan.
I can't tell where it is versus where it's going on the...
It's where it says garage on the site plan. there's a little drawing to the right, and it shows the garage and how it's moved.
I'd love a larger site plan. This is teeny, teeny, tiny.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh.
I can blow it up for you.
Okay, I see it now. Option to move barn. So house has, yeah, okay. I needed a magnifying glass, but yes, I see it now.
I know. Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to blow that up and just get some dimensions.
Yeah.
The main roof is going to be, the main roof of the Cape is going to stay as it is, though.
Yes. Yeah. And the dormers and everything, they all stay. It's a little one-story addition stays just as it is.
Thank you. I guess we're on a site visit.
So I think that drawing that you're on right now, A2.1, is kind of helpful to show you that the one on the top is existing, and it kind of shows how the roof goes straight up. What we're proposing is, again, to hip it back, and we're only raising the roof 1 foot from what it is now, that those additions. But I think the hip, I mean, I can take some pictures of examples of houses around town, but I used to live in an old 1687 Cape on North Street, and we had 2 wings just like this on the back of our house. And they had the little hipped back on the Cape just so that the wings could be a little taller.
It's a common solution. It's just not ideal.
Marianne, any comments?
No, I don't on this one.
Okay. So Andrea, should we schedule a site visit? I think we'll try to coordinate with the previous one.
Yes, I'll do that. And Sally, I'll talk with you, and
okay, yeah,
and you can communicate with Matt and Kristen to see what's
Thanks everybody for the time.
works for them. Okay.
All right.
Great. So we're continued to the 14th of April.
14th.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
All right. Next, Andrea, I don't know if you meant to schedule that last one for 50 minutes, but it helped us not be an hour late anymore.
Oh, good. Yay.
We're on a roll tonight.
Yay.
Next, 39 Lincoln Street. I see the Hunts are here.
And we're looking for Al Kearney.
I don't see Al.
Come on, Al.
There, maybe, under Darren.
I think he's here somewhere.
My associate.
He's here. Are you? I see Darren. You know what? You're kind of.
I'm Darren tonight.
Okay, can you? Do you have a light or a lamp? There you go. Now we can see him.
Yes, thank you.
There's that handsome mug.
Oh, you're sweet to say things. Thank you for having me. This one should be relatively straightforward. Let's see, we're contemplating removing a fireplace and a chimney, and the addition, the chimney was built 20 years ago, so it's new to the home. It's not historic. So the previous owners wanted a fireplace. The current owners don't want a fireplace, so we'd like to have the chimney removed. So that's about as simple as it gets.
Miss Tracy, would you be able to show the, thank you. Perfect.
In 20
There you
years,
go.
does our commission get to talk about putting a fireplace back in?
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
He's being a wise guy.
Oh, I just think it's interesting that it's, 20 years later, it's out it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the history. I don't know why it was built. I'm just assuming the previous owners wanted a fireplace in their small family room, and now it's kind of an odd interior in that back corner, and the firebox is raised. It feels like it was something that was built in the 60s or 70s, not in the 2000s, but needless to say, would like to have it go away.
And what's going to be replaced with? A window?
A window.
I think this seems appropriate.
This doesn't even show from the street, does it? You're in the back of the house.
Well, the chimney will be
Just
gone, so.
Just what sticks up on the roof, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as the front one stays.
Yeah.
Can we make a motion?
Can I make one comment before then? Is
Sorry.
what threw me was this. I thought Al was giving us his old application. He signed it 3/21/02.
Wait, what?
I thought you were giving us your old application to show that you put this in 2002, and now you're
No.
So I don't know if that's something you got to fix on the application, Andrea.
Pardon me?
I don't know if that's something you need to fix on the application that it's signed.
Yeah, right.
2002.
I'll do that. I'll take care of it.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Well, as soon as I'm talking, I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness for 39 Lincoln Street, located in the Lincoln Historic District, to remove a chimney on the rear elevation previously constructed in 2002, and to be replaced with a window to match the existing windows.
Seconded.
All right. Catherine, how do you vote?
Yes.
Marianne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Daniel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carol, how do you vote?
Aye.
That's an aye for me. Motion passes.
Hey, we passed one.
Yay, we did
Yay! That was easy. Quick, zip, zip.
I was beginning to doubt we had it in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
See you soon.
And on a high note.
Thank you.
Al's gonna stick with us, or
Yeah, I'm not
Darren,
going far.
because we've got 17 West Street.
Is that now, Andrew?
No,
18 first.
18 first.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 18 West Street.
All right. All right.
So I'm not really familiar with this process and don't have a big. I'm glad you're probably glad that I don't, because it's late. Basically, I am trying to replace my windows, and 2 years ago I started having companies come down and look, and I wasn't happy with most of them, but I finally found one. It's the windows are double pane, and they're going to stay double pane. The existing wood on the outside, the frames over, they had the option of replacing that with vinyl, and I opt to keep that wood because I am actually very conscious of the way the house looks. And the one thing that I, one of the reasons is that I need to replace them is they're the original windows. And
Excuse me, I don't seem to have this application. Does anyone else missing the application? I don't have any visuals or anything.
You know what, Miss Tracy, I think we have that on. If you could look and see. Thank you.
Sorry about the interruption. Go ahead.
so the company actually, but I don't have them here to speak to the situation. But basically, like, I really can't afford to not replace my windows. There's drafts all over the house. There's actually a hole, like a hole in part of the window that's on the bottom, on the base of one of the windows. One of the windows is I killed a bug that was on it, and the whole window just demolished, and so it's boarded up. That's not in the view of the main street. But in addition, my neighbors next door have replacement windows that are vinyl, as well as many of the houses on the street. So was something that I had questions about. They're not wood. The house to the left of my house is just 5 feet away, and they have the vinyl windows. They also put in a driveway in the front of their house that doesn't even fit a car. And so like, I was kind of like listening to everybody tonight, and I was thinking like, why didn't I have a chance to be like at a meeting for what the neighbor did? You know what I mean? Like the driveway, I wouldn't have thought would be approved. And, you know, I wasn't happy about it either.
Approved? Did they come in for the commission?
No, they didn't. It was done without, the commission didn't have an opportunity to review it. So they just did it.
The vinyl windows either.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, at least I'm clear on that. I thought that it was something that like maybe I would get invited to one of these meetings to kind of talk about it. And in fact, I don't think that the windows next door look good. So my windows will not have the panels that look, you can tell that they're vinyl. They're going to be pane, nothing different than what is existing. And my heat bill is more than over 30% more than anybody on my street. So
yeah.
And I need to get new windows, and I can't afford these as it is. I'm taking a loan for these, and so the wood windows would be, you know, I guess, I don't know if this matters or not, but they would be at least double the cost of replacing these windows.
May I ask a question? How old is this house? First of all, there's no picture of it. There's no.
Yeah, I'm lost, and I'm trying to figure out even which one it is on West Street.
Yeah, we don't have an application. This is something from the window company.
You know, I have to apologize because the applicant has been working with permit services, and they're in, I think, Rhode Island. And I have spoken to the representative, and I asked him to please submit copies of the application, and it hasn't, and also the relevant documentation, which includes pictures of the existing. So we don't have that, but I think we may have it, Ms. Tracy, on, we may have a PDF. So if you could.
Got a call from them. They asked if they told me that they would be taking pictures of all of the windows and that I didn't need to be here. So I know that they took pictures, and I
did take pictures. Yeah,
I don't know if I have the, I don't know if I have an electronic copy of those.
I never received myself.
Well,
so you can go to Google Maps and look up 18 West Street. At least you'll get a visual on the house.
Zillow.
Or Google Maps gives you Street View, yeah, or Zillow. And that would be helpful for people. So you have currently, I'm sorry, just so to clarify, Taya, you currently have vinyl windows, 2/2s, and you're looking to replace them with vinyl, but you would like to do a vinyl clad window, but you want to do a simulated divided light. Is that what you're doing?
Oh, they're wood. They're the original wood windows from the time it was built in the 1800s. But they're like, there's drafts in every single one of them. Like as I said, I tried to just kill a bug, not like forcefully. And one of the windows on the side of the house, it just cracked. And so I have that boarded up. I also have I can take pictures in the living room behind me. There's like a big hole in the wood.
Do you have storm windows on?
So we don't have storm windows on. I'm not sure why, but they weren't here when I bought it in 2015. Some of the windows actually do have them, but they're they also have like holes in them, and they're
Tracy, if you go down the street a little bit, you can get a better view from go that way. Yeah.
That's, yeah.
I also have pictures of like the windows on the street, and it looks to me like, I mean, it's a very small street, but it looks to me like a lot of the houses have vinyl. Some you can tell right away. Others, it looks like they have, they have had a company that has done a good job. And that was my concern all along. I've been trying to figure out a plan for this for the past 2 years. And so this is the company that I felt was most aesthetically similar to the windows that we have.
Are we looking at your house? It's yellow?
No, it's the one to the right.
The yellow one is the one that's like 5 feet. That's the one that did the driveway. And
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So this is you, the Greek Revival?
The white.
I'm looking at the Greek Revival. That's not your house?
No, the one that has the white fence in the front.
I thought I would be helpful. Apparently I'm not being helpful.
No, you know what, Miss Tracy, I have some photographs. So if I can screen share, that'd be great.
Yep, you should be able to.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing because I have, I'm having trouble finding. I think everything is just, hold on.
I did see my house. It was just off-centered. Like, I think you had it on there.
Yeah.
This is your house, right?
This
says 18.
Yeah, it is 18. I think I clarified that at the beginning.
Yeah, this is your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I said, Greek Revival, and they all said no.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know my house was Greek Revival. I'm so sorry.
Now you do.
All right, hang on just a minute. I'm still working on this. Why I can't get to the screen share is beyond me.
I can see it myself.
Well, you can
now
see
we're seeing it on Google Maps.
I've got close-ups of the windows.
Oh.
Hit the escape button, Andrea, and then that sometimes will take you out of full screen so you can see the screen share button.
Okay, did that. A pain. All right, let me just try this. Not working. Hold on.
So, what is the brand of window we're looking at? It's a
Window Nation.
Window Nation.
Our directions are very clear about vinyl, by the way. No matter what the neighbors have done.
And also, Ms. Reggiano, it depends on when the district was, put in place. A lot of the windows were turned into vinyl earlier or not in our purview.
I just have never had this happen before, but I can't find the screen share. You know, Miss Tracy, maybe I'll send you this and then you can try that. This is crazy. All right, because it's important to see this, I think. All right.
No, 15 or 20.
Sometimes if you go to the view in the upper right corner, and you mess around with the different views, you can then get the toolbar at the bottom to be exposed.
All right, well, this is terrible because I'm having all kinds of trouble with this.
I think either way, whether photos or not, Andrea, I think at a minimum we should have a site visit to look at the windows or do a window inventory like we've done on past.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about this. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't think a picture's going to help. We saw the picture.
All right, okay. So bummed. Sorry about that.
Well, I guess we'd need an inventory anyway, and photos and documentation about the state of each window and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
An actual application?
We do have an actual application.
Oh, okay, because I don't even know that I didn't know that I needed to have an application. They said that I paid in addition to like the windows, included in that was like that they would like get the permit and take care of things like that.
And yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what I've been talking to your representative about.
Okay. I think if this doesn't happen, I'm going to lose the deposit. But I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm kind of strapped, single mom with 2 college. So I'm just trying to be efficient with everything.
Understood. Can anybody see this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, finally.
What
All
is
right. This is the back of your house, right, Taya?
Doesn't look it to me.
No, that's that's next to the house that Al was working on, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
On the other side of the street.
No,
this is 15 West Street.
it's 15, so never mind. Screw that. Sorry.
I think it's 3 doors down.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So what I'm gonna do is get a hold of your permitting guy. And he should get us something that's appropriate. So sorry about that.
Does he know it's in a historic district?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I even told him that, and he said that the windows would look exactly like they are. They just the only other thing that may not be approved is if I took all the wood frame off on the outside, and I'm not changing. I'm keeping the wood frame. So, and there's not what.
You're just changing the jams and the sashes, then the up and down part and the surround so they fit, and the frame.
It's just the window, the window part piece, the upper and the lower, which are going to be only glass.
So
okay.
I want to see a sample too, if we can get a sample, Andrea.
I'll try. I will try that. I will call the permitting guy. So, so you know what? Yeah, I will call you and make arrangements. You don't have to be there. We're just going to look from the outside. Okay.
Yeah, to do that anytime.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It'll be on a Saturday morning, and perfect. I'll let you know when we're coming. And in case you want to be there, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. And, you know, I'll notify your permitting person, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Just kind of look at all the way, because
yes.
like I said, one that broke is boarded. Just a little side note.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Last 17 West Street. Al's back.
Al's back.
I'm back. It's West Street night.
That's the one across, right?
This is 17.
No, I'm 18. I think I'm last on the list.
Oh, no, there was another one after you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We added somebody else. We added your across the street neighbor.
Oh, yeah. I know that they're trying to do an addition. So yeah. Okay, perfect. So I'll thank you very much.
Okay, good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hello again.
Hi.
Hey there. Thank you, Andrea, for rescheduling this.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Andrea. It's Jen.
Oh, hi.
Hi, thank you so much.
Good. All right. Well, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's see. Jack staked out the addition. You guys had the site visit a week and a half ago. I wasn't there.
Yes.
I apologize, but I hope
You
it
were in
went
Key
well.
West.
We talked about you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
We talked about you.
No, I found the sun. But I'm back, and we've the drawings based on the last hearing, which was very helpful. So we should have the drawings. We extended the sort of the soffit feature along that facade that faces the driveway. We broke the shed away from the new addition shed roof along the opposite side, so that
Can you do a screen share because I can't seem to find my plans.
Anything either.
Oh, maybe Miss Tracy? Do you have 17?
Yep, I'll pull up what I think was the latest.
Okay.
And see if that's what we're looking for.
Thank you. You're brilliant.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
It's, that's the homes, which we already did. Right?
This is 17.
Oh, this is 17. Okay, good. Yay. Good work. Thank you. So Al, can you take us through this? Did we lose Al? Al?
What is going on tonight? This is a very, like a comedy of errors.
I know.
Full moon or something.
Al, where are you?
I didn't touch anything. Am I there?
Yeah, sort of.
Kind of in and out.
We're sort of. I don't know what happened. It just.
All right, then talk to us
There it
about
was,
these
gone.
plans.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Andrea? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's helpful. I apologize. My video feed is not up and running. I don't know what happened. It's searching for Tracy. That's all I see. That's it. But I can talk my way through this. So if you have the drawings in front of you, and I can't see them, I'm hoping you do, we made the revisions based on the last hearing, which was to sort of incorporate the soffit fascia along the driveway side wall. We sort of disengaged the existing shed roof
Can you scroll
in the
down
main
on
house.
Yeah. Can we scroll?
Right
drawing.
side of the elevation. Keep going.
Keep going.
Going. There.
That's better.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't see what you're seeing. My screen is blank, but
Oh, man. This is what page is this?
This is page 4, I believe, in the packet.
Driveway side.
Yes, driveway side
driveway. Yeah, that would be.
and rear.
A201.
Yeah, that's the side elevation. That's where we introduced that new soffit fascia along between the bedroom and the living room below, just to break up that mass. And I think that was a good suggestion. I don't know who made it, I forget, but that cleaned up that elevation. So that was, and then we talked the dormer hasn't changed. I think it looks appropriate, but that is open for discussion. And then on the other side, on the the other side elevation, we have the existing shed dormer. That's
What
the
page
existing
is
second
that?
floor bathroom. We extended
what
that to create a
page?
laundry room.
Al,
A202. Yeah. A202.
okay,
So if you look at the top elevation, the top side elevation, that there's an existing shed dormer. We're extending it to create the laundry room, but it doesn't extend all the way to the new addition. So there's a break, a visual break between what would be the two dormers. And then the shed dormer along the back side. Again, the break, soffit fascia detail continues along that to give a visual break. That seemed to clean up the visual confusion there. Then I do the front elevation, which basically just shows the shed dormer on the driveway side in true script elevation. It sort of just mirrors the other side. Oh, you're back. I can see what's going on the screen.
yay.
Hey, so other than those changes, sorry?
Do you have a page for us to go to?
I was just discussing page drawing A202.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, went off of it. Here you go.
Here it comes.
There you go.
Yep. Right there. So that top elevation shows the break between the main house, which we're extending the existing shed dormer to make it to create a laundry room in the main portion of the second floor, breaking it, creating a cheek wall up between the two dormers, and then constructing a new dormer on the new addition portion of the project. So that's that break right between those two dormers. One's higher up roof line a little bit. And it kind of, it might be helpful to see it in plan on drawing A102. But the previous submission had it connected, and it was sort of an awkward connection. So now it's a cleaner version of that.
Can we go back to the driveway side? The first image you showed, Tracy, I think it was A101.
A201.
A201.
Yeah, that's it.
So Al, tell me a little bit about what's happening in the top image, the little square window in between kind of the two masses. We have a change in the materials. Is there an overhang there, or is it flat, or what's happening there?
That's a flat plane. That's the only way I can explain it. And that window is in that sort of little annex inside the new proposed master bedroom. That shows up on A302, the section.
I'm sorry, did you want me to go to A302?
You don't have to, but it gives you a better visual of just what's happening on that plane. And would like to introduce some vertical siding on that and that little area just to kind of give it a visual break again.
I think that visual break was a long way to marrying the two sides of and balancing the two dormers. I think that is a very successful solution.
And I think if you were present at the walkthrough, you could see the challenge of getting into that existing basement with that new proposed porch side entrance and the clearances that are involved. I was trying to explain that before during the last hearing, and it's hard to explain. I think if you were at the site visit, it might make sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That was funny little.
Yeah. You know, but so that was, yeah. So the shed dormer, the main shed dormer, main was facing the driveway.
We chatted also about moving the door to the center. Oh, I'm sorry, Al, I interrupted you.
Oh, no. The door. Yeah. It's just, I guess just trying to not make it so crowded on the inside, making better use of that small mudroom. So it's more of a logistics thing. And the door really, you can't see the door from West Street at all. So it's.
Oh, is it tucked behind?
It would be nice if we were to align with that window. I guess that, you know, we all like symmetry. I could follow that thinking, but it's, you know, in
how far back is and that the door is sitting on from the main body, the original body of the house? How far is that plane set back?
That is.
I think it's about 8 feet.
It's about 9 feet.
Oh. That plane is 9 feet back from the plane.
Back from the
original Cape?
Yes. Yes, back from the main house. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have my plans for some reason. I misplaced them, but yes, okay, good. I think it's a good solution.
Cool.
Any other comments? Carol looks happy.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the dormer showing from the driveway side. You know, it'd be great if we could have kept the original cape sort of just, but we're talking 1940s here, right? This isn't 1700, so.
No.
And there's a dormer on the other side, so at this point, it you know, it does what you need done on the inside, so.
Daniel, any comments?
No, I don't have any new or additional comments, as I was unable to join you on the site visit to provide additional perspective, but I'll defer to the members that were able to do the site visit.
Marianne?
No, you know, the one dormer on the left there, I just looked a little off balance to me, but then when I looked at it more and looked at it head on, I understand it now, so it seems okay to me.
All right. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I think I pass at it. Hold on one second. Get my notes.
Yeah, let's make Daniel do it.
Let's see. Move to make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness for 17 West Street located in the Lincoln Local Historic District Phase 2 to include the addition to the rear of the house, adding a dormer to the front of the existing home, re-roofing and sidewall, addition to include a living room, master bedroom. Plans dated February 28th, 2022.
Oh, quickly, what is the material, Al, around the door, the side door? Is that a vertical? What is that? Is it boral?
It's a tongue and groove wood.
Okay.
Like almost, I want to say wood, but it's yeah.
Materials to include asphalt shingles to match the existing. The siding to be a combination of lap siding, horizontal lap siding, and vertical wood batten. Is it batten now?
It's sort of, there's no batten, so it's just sort of a tongue and groove.
Tongue and groove, faux batten?
Yeah.
Okay. And windows on the side elevations to match the existing, with the rear elevation to be a combination to match existing, and with a screened in porch. Hopefully that captures it.
The windows are what now?
Anderson, wood.
Okay. Simulated?
Well, they were insulated glass. It's the the true divided light.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Just one clarification, they're listed on the plans as simulated divided lights. 8/8.
No, they should be, they're wood lights.
They're wood, but they're all listed as simulated divided lights. Just, that's what's on the plan, so just clarification.
Oh, they're not simulated. No, they're the Anderson wood lights. They're the true divided lights.
Okay.
Well,
They're
Anderson,
not STLs.
okay. So
You can add that to the conditions. Like, okay, well, they're not snap-on grill, if that is what the concern is.
no, it's just they're simulated divided lights. That's how they're fabricated. So that's fine. It's one piece of glass with buttons that are attached. It's fine how you have it, but it's not a true divided light. That's all.
Yeah, I don't want to. Thank you.
So I'm confused. So, Al,
Yeah.
what are you putting in where? Windows.
The new addition.
That's simulated.
Yeah, I'm going to share it just because it's terminology.
Thank you.
An authentic divided light would be like this, where they're individual panes of glass. The wood is fully solid all the way through at the buttons.
Right.
A simulated divided can be done two ways. It can be done, it's all one piece of glass, and it can be done with the buttons are attached on the exterior of the glass. And then you can also have spacer bars on the inside of the glass. What Al was referring to is that he's not doing a grill between the glass to get a simulated divided light. Correct, Al?
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
So there's going to be a spacer bar or no spacer bar?
I can tell you.
Anderson Woodwright.
Going off of the
when we discussed windows separately, not tied to this project, we talked about 3-part simulated divided light, which is
right.
the spacer bar.
Yeah. So
I was trying to find it on Anderson. I can't seem to.
I see it. It's the 400 series Woodwright double hung, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the question is, they're wood windows, but what I can't tell,
they fabricate them both ways. They make them with and without the simulated divided light grills. So
okay.
So I think I'd make the recommendation that Al just provide a cut sheet for the window to you, Andrea, for review. And
okay, that's great. Yeah, we want to see that.
No problem.
Brilliant.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Carol. Marianne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol, how do you vote?
Aye.
Catherine, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dan, how do you vote?
Yes. Aye.
That's a yes for me. So motion passes.
Okie
Thank
dokie.
you all. I'm betting 1,000 tonight.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I'm going to celebrate.
Oh,
Thank you
yippee.
all.
Thank you.
All right. So team, we've got, let's see. I just want to remind you, some of you who shall remain nameless have not gotten back to me with your comments on 149 Levitt Street. 2 people have, and if you haven't, please do so, because they're just waiting to find out whether you're okay with what they changed.
Andrea, I'm not aware of this. What is it?
Maybe can we send it to those who did not do their homework?
Or didn't get it? What are we talking about? An email?
149 Levitt Street. They sent their revisions based on our comments from the meeting and the site visit. And so they revised some things and
It was
sent
the
that.
little farmhouse, Carol, with the turned posts and the.
Yeah, I can picture the house, but I didn't get anything we were supposed to approve.
All right, I'll send it. I will send it. You shall see it tomorrow. And if you haven't commented, then please do.
It was sent to us 2 weeks ago on March 10th, so it's long gone in your email.
I know, that's 2,000 emails ago.
You're gonna have homework nightmares tonight now, Carol, that you didn't ask in your homework.
I know. So let's, so here's the deal with, I guess, with site visits, you are not, who's available? Tracy, you're not available on when? The
Second.
second. And then who's available on the 9th?
I am not.
I am.
Well, poop.
It's the way it goes. It's always the way it is.
That's always the way
It's
it
so
is.
vulgar when it's laid out, Andrea.
All right, well, I'll talk to Tracy. We'll figure this out. And so thanks, everybody. As usual, you guys are rock solid.
There's no minutes, right? We did that last week.
No. It was Miss Tracy has been stellar. And this was just too quick.
Yes.
She's got planning board and other stuff. So Miss Tracy.
She's doing a great job with the scrolling and the pointing and trying to follow along. And she's never been there and she doesn't know what we're talking about. You're doing a great job.
Move we adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Tracy. We love what you do and we appreciate it.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Night, night. Oh, second.
We'll get the motion.
Night.
All right. I think we have to vote quickly. Catherine.
Yes.
Carol.
Aye.
Dan.
Yes.
We have to vote. Technically, we have to
Mary
vote.
Ann.
Dan, how do you vote?
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, how do you vote?
Oh, sorry. Yes, please.
All right. And then a yes for me. Meeting adjourned.
Quite
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Night.
Good night. Thanks. Bye.
Night.